Hi, it's Grammy from Grammy and Grandpa Read, and today I have a special book for you called Ella's Dance Debut. And this is by Once Upon a Dance, and it's a mom and daughter that write these books together. And the special thing about this book is it tells you how to dance out the story. But we'll read the story, and then when you get the book, you can read how to dance out, and you can watch too, because it shows how to do it while I'm reading it. So listen to the story and think about how you would act out the story, okay? So here we go. Once upon a dance, Ella squirmed uncomfortably. She was squished and could hardly move. Her neck pressed against something hard, her bottom was in the air, and her head was upside down. It was dark except for a faint line of light. Suddenly the line of light expanded and a soft daylight poured in. Ella turned her face away from the brightness. Before her eyes could adjust, she found herself in motion with drops of water falling on her scrunched body. Then her arms and legs unfurled, and she stretched out into the cold wind. You see how you see Canora's dancing out? You can do that too. Wet raindrops streamed off Ella's back and down all of her limbs. Before her, puddles grew on the sidewalk. Droplets plopped into the pools and rippled in the water. A little girl in yellow boots shuffled by and stomped in one of the puddles, splashing water up to meet the falling raindrops. Ella could feel Ashton's familiar hand gripping her tight as an icy gust blasted across her body. Ashton said, "That silly bus is late again," and Ella tilted to get a better view of her surroundings. The street was empty except for a man jogging, scattering water from the puddles with every step. A few minutes later, a bus pulled up and splashed the sidewalk. Ashton jumped back and almost dropped Ella. Ashton shook the water off and climbed up the steps of the bus before folding Ella and settling her on the floor. How rude, thought Ella. The bus bumped along and stopped 6 times before Ashton picked Ella up, carried her down the stairs, and unfolded her again. The rain fell gentler now. A soft trickle of mist dripped along Ella's back, and the water no longer gushed down her face like tears. Soon Ella leaned against a wall in the theater dressing room as more dancers arrived. Everyone smeared skin-colored goo on their face, painted their eyebrows darker, and formed red cheeks and lips. Then they twirled their hair into buns. The dancers warmed up in the dressing room for the performance. Ella knew the names of many of the dance steps from watching from the corner of the ballet class. Ashton's theater warm-ups were always the same: pliés, tendas, rond de jambe, and petite battements and sautés. Oh, I better get my ballet genre down. The dancers headed to the stage, and Ella was alone. Faint echoes of music drifted into the dressing room. One song sounded like something she'd often heard during class. Ella loved ballet school. The creaky wooden floors a sweaty smell felt like a second home to her. Huge mirrors on the wall gave her a view of the whole room. Whenever she was out of Ashton's bag, Ella loved seeing the dancers glide and leap from corner to corner. When the music faded, Ella heard applause, and soon the dancers bounced back into the dressing room, chattering happily. They gave each other high fives and hugs. Their joy was contagious, but Ella knew it wouldn't be long until she was either folded up or soaked with rain. Ashton shoved Ella inside the bag, her soggy folds stuck together uncomfortably. She never liked how she smelled when she was put away while still damp. A few days later, Ella was perched on a bench in the studio. As the dancers finished their pliés, Ella suddenly realized she was dry. She'd never been dry and unfolded before. The feeling was glorious, and she twitched with excitement. Ella relaxed, settled in, and hummed a familiar song during the grand abatements. Pairs of students lifted the bars and carried them off to the sides. As usual, the dancers stayed in one spot while they repeated tendas and passes and lifted their legs in develops. Everyone chanted, turned from corner to corner. They jumped up and down and zigzagged small jumps. And finally, it was time for Ella's favorite flying leap across the floor. Ella rejoiced whenever she could watch Ashton practice new dance steps. Then the students usually moved to different studios to learn and rehearse their choreography, and Ella almost always got tucked away in the shuffle. But today, something strange happened. The director asked, "Does everyone have an umbrella?" And when all the dancers nodded, she continued, "Thank you for bringing them. I'll order prop umbrellas tonight." Ashton strolled over to Ella, picked her up, sat on the ground, and twirled her in the air. Ashton lay down, surrounded Ella with bent legs, and balanced her on wide stretched out legs. Then Ashton's toes curled around the umbrella's handle. Ella was nervous she'd fall, but she tried to stay steady for her friend. Ashton lay sideways and lifted Ella in the air, and the dancers posed with one hand and both feet touching the ground, umbrellas stretched out behind. Then they stood up and pinched over their upside-down umbrellas. Ella pushed into the floor, trying to help Ashton balance. Everyone finished by twirling their umbrellas around and above themselves. Ella was just getting over her dizzies when she was shoved back into Ashton's bag. She heard the director say, "What color umbrella do you want for the show?" Ashton answered. Purple for me, please." Melted into Ella like hot lava. Look, she's crying. After a few glorious dancing days, the prop umbrellas arrived, and Ella was back in the prison of Ashton's bag. Ella's heartbreak grew each day as she listened to the dancers rehearse. To make matters worse, one rainy day when Ella was drying in the corner, Ashton plunked Purple next to Ella. "Well, aren't you a puny thing? Do you keep the top of Ashton's head dry while the rest gets wet?" Ella pretended not to hear, but the tears mixed with the last few rain droplets, and she wished she could curl into a tiny ball and disappear. Ella focused on the memories of the special day duets. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and recalled the pressure of Ashton's hand holding her and how it felt to soar in the air. On the next cloudy day, Ella was back into the theater dressing room. Drops from the rain mingled with her tears and gathered in a puddle as she thought of the purple umbrella at Ashton's side. Ashton and the director walked into the room. They both seemed upset. "What happened?" the director asked. "That silly prop umbrella wouldn't open. Can I just use my real umbrella? It works better anyway." Ella almost fell off the counter, craning her neck to watch as the director nodded. Ella's heart sang. She felt as if the stars had flown down from the sky to illuminate only her, and the rivers of the world had turned to joy and washed over her. Ella remembered all the choreography and tried to be a good partner. She was thrilled when she heard Ashton say, "I like dancing with this umbrella better. It's lighter, and those are my highest grand jetés." It says, the end. My grandpa always ends stories this way. I like to share the fun. Thanks for being my dance partner until our next adventure, Cornora." That's the dancer. So next time you can read through and try to do the actions like you were Ella the umbrella. Isn't that cute? I hope you like this book. Please subscribe to our channel and like the video.